All right, we're back for show number 2 on Tuesday night. We had the one and only Brian S. Red with us this evening. Brian, good evening.
Hi, John.
We just wrapped up. Between shows, you guys don't get to see the banter and the discussion that goes on, and we just got a tour of Star Wars books.
Yes. Yes, Ben's son has been, what do we want to say, bitten by the bug.
And you know what? It's really cool to see a young man at that age going and reading, whether it's Star Wars books or whatever, but it's nice to see that he's doing something like that instead of, having himself in front of a tablet and gaming all the time.
I think it's cool to see a father and son do something together, period.
And then, that.
To be into the same thing. That's something I didn't have. I didn't have anything in common with my dad until I was older. Now we have all kinds of things to talk about, but when I was young, no, there wasn't anything really to talk about. So it's cool to see them, they're bonding with that, and that's really nice. Something they have in common, something they can talk about, something they can do.
Yeah, for sure.
It's cool.
That it is. Okay, so tonight, gang, what I wanted to do is a little bit different show as far as we're not going to get into a really DJ-specific topic, although this does relate. And I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch. Brian did a video that was referring to an additional video that he had put up a little bit earlier about a cell phone charging station. And there were lots of questions. And Brian, I'm going to let you kind of fill everyone in at that point because of how you came to do the video talking about the fear of these questions they had.
Well, what happens a lot of times when I'll do a video, I'll throw a concept out there. And I try very hard to be patient with my audience sometimes, but every once in a while, something just kind of rubs me wrong, and I try to react in a positive way about it. But basically what happens is I see people trying to come up with the reasons not to do things.
Yep.
So they'll say things like, oh, well, there's liability involved. You can't do that. Or, oh, well, what about a trip hazard? Or, oh, well, stop giving me that stuff. I mean, that is so frustrating to me when people come in and start thinking of reasons to do nothing.
Yep.
So don't act. No, don't even try it because this or that might happen. And like I said in the video, basically, and I don't want to do the whole show in 2 minutes, but it's good to look before you leap, but I don't believe it's good to look for reasons not to leap. And that's kind of where it all spawned from.
And when you were talking about that, what came to mind is back in college when we were taking psychology, and they're talking about that experiment they did where they would have the monkeys were in the little area, the little cage area. There was a ladder and there was a banana at the top. And they would have, one of the monkeys would go up and try to grab the banana, and they would spray them with water. Then the monkeys would go down. And after a while, the monkeys basically that were in that group did not go up there because they didn't want to get sprayed with water. So then they would take a monkey out and put a new one in. And that new monkey would basically try to go up there, and the other monkeys would hold that monkey down, wouldn't allow them to go up. And I see that in the DJ industry so often.
Yeah.
Is this that you get someone who has an idea, instead of saying, wow, that's an awesome idea, and try to help them build an idea, it's like, oh, that's not going to work, man, because everybody hates blue. Blue sucks. You got to go back over there where everything's green because that's the only acceptable color, especially in Wisconsin, right, Reggie? So, you get that weird fascination with trying to just keep everyone in their place. It's just it just astounds me.
Something that I mentioned in the video, and it's what you're talking about right now. Fear is contagious. Yeah. So if one person casts doubt, then people will follow because people look for reasons to not do things. They look for, I guess, stop signs or red lights or whatever. And sometimes there's nothing to find. They're just looking for it. It doesn't mean that it actually exists or it's real, but they're looking for it. And that's where I guess I get annoyed, because it's not that my concept was that bold or anything, but it was an idea. Mm-hmm. And that's all it was. And then somebody automatically had a reason not to do it. And I'm like, and then everybody else was like, yeah, what if? And I'm like, well, what do you mean, what if? Who cares what if?
Yeah.
What if a lot of things? It's, it's again, you want to be cautious before you do anything. You always want to be smart about it, but geez, don't talk yourself out of things. And the one example I gave because I did a couple of videos on that actually, one of the examples I gave that I felt like everybody could kind of relate to was that when I started this YouTube channel,
Yep.
my mom was saying, "What are you doing? You're wasting your time. Nobody's paying you for this. What's the point?" I'm like, "Look, I don't know. There's something about this. I just want to do it. It feels good, and I don't know. I don't know what the point is. I'm just doing stuff."
Mm-hmm.
And then I did a gig log, and I told the guy who actually gave me my first mobile DJ position in charge of this multi-app. I was doing work for him at the time, 20 years later or whatever, because I was starving. I mean, I just had to do something. And I told him what I was doing, and he's like, "Oh, man, you're going to get sued. You can't do that.
Yep.
Man, you got to take those down right now." And, I built a career on these videos, but I had so many people telling me don't do it and looking for reasons not to do it. But nobody gave me any reasons that I should do it except one guy. One guy that I knew at the time. He's not with us anymore, but he was a pretty prominent DJ in the area. He'd worked with several touring acts and things. And I told him what I was doing, and he looked at my stuff, and every time I saw him, he'd be like, "Man, you're onto something. You are really onto something here." And that was encouraging, but I didn't get a lot of encouragement. I didn't even tell Blanca about the videos for a long time. I don't think I told her about the videos for probably about 6 months. I didn't want to hear it from her. I just wanted to do my thing.
Yep.
And then I finally let her know about it when I don't know, something happened that was significant and was going to kind of change things. And I said, "Look, I've been doing these videos." Like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Bear with me. There's anything bad. They're on DJing." And I don't know. Fear's contagious, man. And I think that we should be careful not to just automatically fear what we don't understand or be weary of something that isn't necessarily a sure thing.
Yeah, I think that's a great point with they're not sure of the maybe validity of the idea or the possibility of the idea, and instead of just saying "oh" and just leaving it at that, and not, it's like we have this weird sensation that we have to go and badmouth, we have to go and slap someone down, even though we have no idea. I mean, Prodigy just mentioned that as a Mackie user, and will get slapped down because of using Mackie products. Mackie's got some pretty good speakers if you're, depending upon which ones. I mean, every company's got different lines. But it's like, why do DJs feel that they should go and slap, Prodigy down for his speakers, or you because of the charging station idea, or when I wanted to go out and do video, making video snowmen on the ceilings of every school I do,
Yeah.
Everyone's got an idea, and that's what makes this world go round. And yet, we just have this weird fascination. It's like, I want to kill their idea.
I want to be positive.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not always positive. I'm not. I haven't always been a positive guy, but I tried very hard to be a positive guy. And I've found that, well, I guess since I decided to do this and be positive and kind of ignore the naysayers and all that kind of stuff, I've had a pretty good life. There was a time when I was very cautious and I was afraid of things. And in my late 20s, I made a big change and just wasn't afraid of anything anymore. And it's weird because I talk to people who I know a guy. I know this guy. I talk to him once a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just tell you who it is. It's Chuck Davies.
Yeah.
Chuck Davies is the guy who founded ADJ in the group of companies. And Chuck Davies is the son of a mailman, Yeah. Not this guy who comes from all this money or whatever. And he traveled to California and he had different jobs and eventually opened a little stereo shop. And that went okay, but then he tried this and it didn't work. And he tried that and it didn't work. And eventually he just landed on this thing and he went with it, and it's kind of like gambling.
It is.
A sure thing is never going to pay as well as something that involves a bit of risk.
Yep.
And you've heard the phrase, the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward.
Generally, yes. Mm-hmm.
So that's, when I talk to guys like Chuck, it just drives the point home. It's like, Chuck didn't play it safe. Chuck did some things that were risk. And he told me this one story this one time. We were having this conversation, oddly enough. And he told me he knew this guy who had some cash. He'd done pretty well. And he approached this guy and he said, look, I got this idea for this store and I'm looking for an investor. If you'd like to get in on it, that would be cool. I think we're onto something here. It's a cool thing. And this guy says, well, I don't know. Let me think about it. The guy goes to his mom and talks to his mom about it. And then he goes back to Chuck and says, look, I talked to mom and she said, maybe this isn't the thing to do. And she says, well, are you sure? Because I really think this is going to be a good thing. He's like, no, mom said this was too risky and don't touch it. So Chuck goes ahead and does it by himself. And after not a real long period of time, it was a matter of months, it exploded and he did very well with it. And then the guy comes back to him and says, hey, Chuck, I'd like to invest. And Chuck's like, hey, dude, it's over. Yeah. I did it myself. I don't need you anymore. I did this myself. So, yeah, if this guy would have gotten involved with them for, I don't know, it was a little bit of nothing. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, who could this guy be today? Yeah. Where could he be? Could he have been a part of ADJ? I mean, I don't know. He probably could. He was probably a partner of some kind, of his business. But yeah, man, fear will get you every time.
And it's interesting. This is a thought and discussion I've had over the years with Lori as we've progressed through our businesses and such. When we were in our 20s, before children, there was very little fear in trying something. If there'd be like, oh, let's do this early in the DJ industry or DJ time, it's like, let's become a multi-system. Let's go and let's do 2. Well, 2 worked. Let's go 8. Right. And you didn't even think twice about going and investing and doing that and cash flow and all these different things. And then we start having children. And then you have the mortgage gets a little bit bigger and a little larger. And now today, as we sit here in our mid 40s, it's a different world. You don't the whole concept of that risk in different businesses, different business ventures and things, just isn't as appealing as it was. And when we're talking the fear of different unknowns, it can definitely feel it differently today than 15 to 20 years ago.
Well, it's just like anything else. I mean, look at, well, not today. I mean, today I'm not seeing it, but when I was younger, when kids did weird stuff like went outside and played, think about the crazy stuff we did on the monkey bars.
Oh, yeah.
Adults wouldn't do that. They'll break a hip, but a kid will do it. A kid don't care. Kids are mortal. Kids are fearless. When you get older, you don't take those kind of risks, I guess. The older you get, the more cautious you get. And I think the reason being is, I don't even think it's an older thing sometimes. I think it's a matter of, what do I got to lose? So the people who got nothing to lose, those are the people who could really cause some damage because they can try things. They've got nothing to lose. I remember when that guy told me from that multi-app, you got to take those videos down. You're going to get sued. I'm like, sued for what? I have nothing. And I'd lost everything. Divorced and living in my parents' basement and spinning tunes. I mean, for people on weekends, I had nothing. So yeah, sue me if you want. And maybe you can get a pickup truck with 280,000 miles on it if you're lucky. Because that's all I have to offer you. I have nothing else.
That reminds me of the very first time I ran into Bruce Kessler from Name. And he's talking about, you have insurance for your DJ business? Again, I'm a young guy at this time. It's like, right. What do I need insurance? What do they got to do? Sue me for what?
Right. What are they going to get?
There's not, at the time, ooh, wow, they're going to get $10,000 of whatever property I happen to own at the time. Ooh,
Right. Ooh, well, it's going to take me forever to get that back.
yeah, how times change.
It's like that though.
Yeah.
And I do understand that. And it's not like I'm not empathetic to people's struggles and what people, may have to lose. But can you take it too far? Yeah, I think you can. I think you can just go way too far with this caution thing. And I'm not suggesting being reckless, but a concept like a freaking phone charging station. Come on, guys. This is just easy. And you can make it complicated if you want.
Yeah.
That was the other thing. I was thinking to myself, all right, well, I can provide this service and kind of just put it out there and people can charge their phones, because otherwise they're going to go wherever the outlet is.
Yeah.
They might unplug one of my uplights. They might go into a coat closet in the hallway and not be a part of the party anymore. Where if I provide this thing, they can just do it there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then people are like, well, what about security? Like, well, I'm not securing their phones if they're plugging them into the coat closet. Why would I secure them on this table? It's a free service. I'm not charging them for it. So therefore, I should have no liability here.
Precisely.
Oh, well, you could put cameras up just in case someone steals it. Look, you're overthinking this, guys.
Exactly.
Come on. Relax, and just take a leap of faith sometimes on this stuff. It's not even a leap of faith, I guess. I shouldn't even say that. This is like, come on, don't be ridiculous. The airports have these things.
Yeah.
And if someone steals your phone at the terminal, what are you going to do? Go to Delta and say, hey, you owe me a phone? Or the airport? Or Samsung, who built the charging kiosk and advertises on it? No. Yeah. So why the hell should we be responsible for something if we're not charging for it? It just drove me nuts. I mean, this kind of stuff happens all the time on my videos. People just pop up with the weirdest things. Mm-hmm. And I always want to look at who these people are. I want to see if they're anybody who's really doing much of anything. Mm-hmm. And I'm not picking on people, but I don't recall anybody who's had like this large degree of success as a DJ picking on ideas like that. The people who are successful are the ones who are open to ideas, and the ones who are basically or typically positive towards ideas or contribute constructively towards ideas. And if somebody would have said to me, hey, I have a concern about liability on this, it could be addressed. Oh, well, here's the thing. I don't think you're liable because all we're doing is, I'm not an attorney, but geez, we're just setting the table up with some chargers on it. But that's not what happens. They come at it like, oh no, we can't do that because of liability.
Yeah.
And that's where the doubt is cast, and that's where it's contagious, and that's where everything gets thrown off. And I just feel like somebody just kicked over my sandcastle, because I like worked on this concept of this project, and somebody just came along and went, no, not that. I
don't know if you see Howie's post here. I'll read it verbatim here. I went for it, Brian, less than $100. The couple I'm doing the wedding for in 4 weeks love it. They asked how much. I said free. Yeah. Think of the good feeling and the fuzzies that they're getting from that, because they know that half their guests are probably using their devices for pictures and checking. Right. And by the time they get to the reception, they're going to, especially the dance part, their phones are dying.
Right. And they've been there all day. Mm-hmm. And, there are a lot of reasons they have this. And Howie's been doing this for a while. And he's had success with it. This is not something, when I came up with the idea, it's not completely original. I mean, I'm not the first person to think of a phone charging station. My idea was to have a battery-powered phone charging station that was portable and you could put in the middle of a room or right next to a dance floor with no trip hazard.
Yes.
Because, against the wall isn't always ideal. And I would ideally like people to be congregating in an area where something's happening.
For sure.
And that's where, the dance floor is where something's happening. So next to the dance floor, I thought, wow, what a neat idea. And this probably wouldn't be too hard to do. For somebody who, makes stuff like, ADJ or whatever. Mm-hmm. But reasons to do it. Let's just talk about that. This is not about phone charging stations. This is just about a concept. Reasons to do it. As you mentioned, People are using their phones to take pictures, and by the time the dancing starts, the phones are dead. Now, if you've been to any kind of event in the last couple of years, if you've done a gig, with a banquet hall, with millennials at least, they'll have like a hashtag that you can use on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, where you can hashtag their names, and so all the pictures are collected in one place, and you can look them up that way. So they're using phones, and our clients are encouraging their guests to use phones. The other thing that I like to think about, and this is an empathy thing, I try to put myself in the guest's place. I've been a guest at a wedding, and John, you've got 1,000 kids. So if you and Lori go to a wedding and you're gone all day long, you're going to want to check in with the kids.
For sure.
And if you've been taking pictures on your phone all day, you need battery.
Yeah.
This is important. If you have your kids are older now, but if you had, maybe your older kids were there with you and you had somebody there watching your younger kids, whoever the caregiver is needs to be able to contact you.
Yeah.
It's a problem. The kids need to be able to contact you if there's a problem. The peace of mind of being able to have that phone charged, or a place to charge the phone and at least check in or send a text to make sure everything's okay. That's great peace of mind for the client. And when you're selling this service, well, I wouldn't even say selling the service. When you present the service, maybe you save that for last. Maybe that's your ace in a hole. Maybe when you're talking to a client, you're explaining your services and what you offer and all this stuff. Oh yeah, by the way, we do phone charging stations. What? Yeah, I do this battery powered phone charging station, or whatever it is. This table you can charge your phone on. It's for your guests. It's free. I just set it up so people can charge their phone. That is the icing on the cake.
Yep.
They're not even going to consider the next guy because you just offered something that no one's ever even suggested exists before. I mean, this is a relatively new thing. So this could put you in a really sweet negotiation position. Or even if they bulk on price. Oh, yeah, by the way, I have a phone charging station. Really? How much? Oh, no, I just throw that in with everything. It's part of the thing. You know, I can bring, if you want it, I'll bring it. Oh, yeah, we want it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Nobody's going to say no to this. Not at a wedding, a school dance. I don't know. I'm not going to get into that whole thing. That's a different universe I'm not even involved with anymore. But for weddings, corporate parties, that kind of stuff, family events, yeah, why not? You know, even the quinceañera market. That's, you know, bar mitzvah, all that stuff. I don't know. I can think of a lot of reasons to do it. And I can't think of any good reasons not to do it.
Yeah, with a little precaution. There are some minor concerns. Like, you're not going to stick it over by the entry door. That's like, you know, somebody could grab and dash. You're not going to put it out in the middle of the dance floor with cords all over the place. So, you know,
you don't want trip hazards.
Yeah. And I mean, that's just a lot of common sense. I mean, it's like,
well, of course it is. I mean,
pointing out, you know, well, if you wouldn't drink so much,
let's say the same. By the way, this is apple juice. This is not beer, guys. If it was beer, it'd be very flat beer. This is just apple juice.
Yeah, it looks like apple, yeah. Which is surprising because usually it's coffee time.
Oh, just leave me alone. I'm trying something different. I'm trying to take care of myself over here.
Oh, wow. So welcome to the Brian's Getting Cranky Without His Caffeine show.
Oh, good. No, I'm completely off track now. No, but you can talk about that with anything else. Your lights can walk away. Well, battery powered lights, they can take your lights. They can unplug your light and take it.
Yep. Yeah, there's just so many
stuff like that drives me crazy.
And I think, and I'm going to kind of switch a little bit. This is one of the reasons why I talk in motivational speakers and different things, talk about surrounding yourself with positive people who are going to be uplifters instead of you know, the ones that keep a ceiling on you. And you and I get to see, because we do things and we're out in public, we get to see people like Howie who are an uplifting type person. Oh, God. Howie is a person that's and I mean, a lot of you are we're picking on Howie because we know we can pick on Howie.
Of course.
But there's many of you are just incredibly uplifting people. Robin is in the group, and you know, she was the only one who really made Ben Stowe feel good tonight with his during his time, because she has to, you know, made a nice comment about it. But there's uplifting people in your world, and if there's one thing that, through all of this that we're going to talk about tonight is really, as you're going through and evaluating the people that you spend a lot of time with, because there have been times in kind of windows or parts of my life where I've been surrounded by people or have had many people influencing me that weren't positive people.
Yeah.
And I can go and look, and I can see at that time that my business relationship struggled, my personal relationship struggled, my overall happiness. I was just, you get to be a bitter person after a while, and you're like, well, what's with this? Well, you know what? I'm working with this group of people at the one particular time. I was working with this really bunch of jerks at the school, and they were just really negative people. And after a while, you're there with them. You're eating the gutter with them, and it's like, no. So, positive people, uplifting people, the ones who are going to help you to grow and to dream. I mean, if it wouldn't be for people like Brian and the crew and such that are throwing ideas and trying to build this world of engaging and teaching DJs and giving back to it, if it wouldn't be for being surrounded by people like that, we wouldn't have the things we are doing today with DJNTV and these video channels and things, because people said, oh, no one. They won't do that. No.
The hell's going to watch that?
I mean, I was talking to a young man yesterday that created a training program. And Brian, you'll have to check this out. They've got an incredible training program that they built online, and they have priced this training program at under $40. And now the price of it isn't huge any more than that. That training program and the amount of time they put into it and everything, that is worth it to me to be $150 to $200. But they have it in their head that DJs aren't going to invest in training. And it's like, when you have a quality product and you believe in your product and you're delivering a product, that I was just looking through some of the things there, and it's like, holy cats, you guys have got gold here. But yet they are surrounded by other DJs who are telling them, it's only worth $15.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, instead of them being able to say, you know what, there's value to this, so that they can sell this and they can do things to help serve the people that they're trying to teach, they basically have hamstrung themselves, because now they can't afford to do a second version of it because of where they put themselves. They can't spend the time when someone has a question. They can't afford it. Why? Because this isn't making them any money. So now they are having to go and they work their full-time day jobs and even though they've got some of the best training program I think I've seen out there on the internet for DJs wanting to get going. So
nice. Yeah, it's like, that whole thing is another story. I mean, my approach to it is goofy because I give everything away, and I never ask for money. I never ask for a GoFundMe or any of that. And the reason I don't is because I got a different formula.
Yep, your business plan is different than
my business plan, if you will, is a little different, and that is, I want the numbers. I want people to watch, and I don't want to take from them. I want to give to them. I will take from JTS, who makes this microphone, and Pioneer, who makes the mixing board that I'm listening to, and the speakers I'm listening to, and ADJ, who's got the light. I'll take all day for them because they got the dough. Mm-hmm. And what I can do for them is turn people onto the products, and that's worth something to them. So it all works out. It's not a self-serving thing. If I wasn't making any money at this, I would still do it. I would probably not do it at the capacity I'm doing it, because I would have to go do something else.
Yeah.
To keep the lights on. But yeah, I mean, that's just my plan. But I get it. I get why they do what they do. I mean, they've got their own business plan, and maybe the business plan that they have is, look, I think I can probably get, 20 DJs to pay $200 for this, but I think I can get 2,000 DJs to pay $15 for this. Maybe that's what they're thinking, and that ain't a bad plan either.
And that would, if that was indeed the case, yay. But
right,
it's from the discussion,
right,
it was those same people, those same trolls that are said, oh, that's going to be a oh, what happens if there's like 1 amp too many and it fries the phone? Are you responsible for the phone? Those type of people are the ones telling that, oh, no one's going to pay for
Yeah.
that.
And
Oh,
if that, yeah, that's the case. Yeah, that sucks.
and it's like,
So,
hey, come on, don't listen to the people who are, and yes, there's times where the negative people are telling you, no, that's a bad idea. And you're getting it from people who are going to give you good advice. And so
right.
there are times that we have bad ideas. Don't
I
get me.
have bad ideas all the time.
And most of the time,
A lot.
Lori's happy to tell me that
Your
that's a
idea sucks.
bad
Yeah.
idea.
Blanca's happy to tell me my idea sucks.
No, we're
My
not going to hold a
daughter's
DJ convention in the middle of the new Viking Stadium because you think it would be cool. It's
Yeah,
like 50
right.
yard line. Hello. Could it be more cool? But yeah, maybe
Now that's
she's
something else. That's something else that I want to just kind of throw out there too, and you can take this for what it's worth. But don't be afraid to be wrong once in a while. I think that is something that's going to hinder your creativity. It's okay to have an idea that doesn't work, or it's okay to have a concept that maybe it's flawed. It's okay because if you, again, look for reasons not to do things, if that's all you're doing, then you do nothing. I'd rather see people do things and fail than do nothing.
and I love that concept where they talked about that. Yeah, I do things and sometimes I fail, but I know that each failure, it isn't a failure. It's just one step closer to my next big success.
You would hope, yeah.
And that,
You would hope.
that's such a, I don't want to say liberating, but it kind of is to a point that and obviously you can't be reckless, but there are times
Exactly. You got to
can-
be smart about it. It's not, don't throw caution to the wind all the time, but don't talk yourself out of stuff. And if you got an idea and it's got a 50-50 chance, go for it. Hell, I'll go for it if it's got a 20-30 chance. I don't care. I'll try it. Or what, 20-30, 20-80 chance. I don't care. I'm not afraid. I'm fearless. And that's why I'm a little scary, because I'm not afraid of anything. I'm a little scary that way. I wasn't always like that.
Yeah.
My daughter and I were having this conversation earlier. She was telling me about, she went to a family gathering for a friend who she's very close with the family. And there was a boyfriend who had just come into the picture for one of the girls that was in this family. And I guess this poor kid was trying so hard to be liked. He kept asking people, oh, can I help you in the kitchen? Oh, can I help you with this? And just very eager to please, And my daughter was saying, well, I didn't care for that too much. I think he was just trying to. I said, well, give the kid a break.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing something and he's trying. And someday he might not be like that. He says, well, he doesn't seem very confident. I'm like, well, guess what? Who's the most confident person? She says, my dad. And I said, yeah, because your dad's nuts. He doesn't care. She knows that. And I said, when I was younger, I was terrified of everything. I was afraid of rejection from girls. I was afraid of failing at a job. I was afraid of looking ridiculous when I walked out of the house, and God, man, just fear. And surrounding, like you were talking before, just surrounding yourself with those negative people who bring you down, and they tell you, what you're doing is stupid, but you're a mobile DJ. That's not a real DJ. You need to work in a club, and that just negative. People who convince you that you are worth less than you are. You get rid of those people in your life. And it helps if you have a tragic event. That helps.
It does. It does.
You tend to become quite fearless. If I was fearless before my stroke, oh my gosh, I'm completely dangerous now because I don't care. I'm afraid of no one. And I can say that with a straight face. I'm afraid of no one. Nothing intimidates me. What could they possibly do? Kill me? Is that the best you can do is kill me? Really? I mean, I don't care. So I'm probably not a good example, but there is a process, and I understand the process. If you are a person who is very cautious and has doubts and reservations about a lot of things, and some people in the comment section of the videos that I posted did express this, like, you know what, Brian, I'm kind of afraid of stuff. And I'm glad you did this video, but yeah, I am. How do I get over this? It's a process for everybody. But I think you have to get to this one point somewhere eventually when, pardon my French, you just don't give a shit. You just go for it. I don't know.
And that's the concept of just going for it is so there's so many people that have you talk to and they've got a good idea or they've actually got a game plan and you're like, hey, this person could be really successful, and you see they're just not because they've got their paralysis by now I'm not going to be able to say analyzing. They overanalyze it, so they're paralysis by analysis. There we go.
Paralysis by analysis. I
yes,
like that.
That's what they have. And yet I
Like
had
overanalysis.
yes. And I had a conversation with a young lady this past week, and she was telling me about and this will be a tangent that about coaching. We'll have to talk about that in a little bit. But she called and she's wanting to talk about what her plan and what she wants to do and how she wants to start. And it's truly a situation where she's going to be busting ahead and going, and there's little chance for success in this particular situation, especially as she has herself going. And it's, again, I don't want to be that negative person, but it's like trying to say, okay, let's just slow down a little bit and let's get some ducks in a row a little bit. Your excitement and motivation are wonderful, and I love it, but I don't want you to fail. And right now, it's basically you've had someone go and they started the buzzsaw, and you're running headlong into that buzzsaw, thinking it's not going to cut you. It's going to rip you up.
Yeah.
And you got some people who are over fearful of everything, and then you have some people who are just oblivious to what reality is. And there's got to be
a balance somewhere.
It's like, yeah, don't do that. You're going to die.
Yeah, please don't mix my words here. I'm not telling you to just free fall off of the building because someone will catch you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just suggesting that you don't overanalyze and you don't just try to come up with reasons not to do things. Find reasons to do them and weigh them against not. Don't just focus on the don't do. Look at both of them, figure it out, analyze the situation, and go for it. But again, it's a process before you can even get there. And I totally understand it's a process. Coming from a guy who was not confident, who did not have much faith in himself, and looked for excuses to not do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot. I looked for a lot of excuses not to do stuff. And now it's kind of the opposite. But I totally understand what you're saying. I got a kid too. So that, and I got to take a step back as a father sometimes with what you were talking about earlier with the kid. She's going to have to screw up once in a while.
Oh, yeah.
I can tell her, hey, you know what? Maybe that's not the thing to do. But I don't want my daughter living her life by my hearsay.
Yep.
I need her to figure this shit out for herself. That's a learning experience.
Mm-hmm.
You fall on your face, once or twice. What I'm looking out for are the big screw ups. I'm looking for the big ones, like stepping out in front of the truck, big ones. Those are the ones I'm looking out for. The little stuff. And when I say little, I mean, it only costs me a couple $1,000, I guess, if it goes wrong. That I'm probably okay with. But the big stuff, big stuff. Yeah, that's where I play dead and look out. Yeah. Right or wrong, I'm doing my best, and that's all we can do. But I get that too.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Let's see. I wanted to take this. We were talking, of course, with the different aspects of it, and the surrounding ourselves with the positive people.
Yeah.
It's really tough. I think I find it tougher today, though, with our social media interconnected world. And we've talked a little bit about this in past shows, but to keep a positive demeanor and a positive attitude, and to be focused on tasks and such when everywhere you turn, especially this past fall and even over the winter. I mean, it seems to slowing down finally now, but there was just so much negativity and such on our feeds every day, and it just really got old after a while. I don't know if how you were dealing with it, but it kind of wore on a person after a
I
while.
was in denial of the whole thing, I think. I had to be. I had to just kind of completely separate myself from it and just get to work. So if you look at my video output from last fall, it's pretty good. I put a lot of shit out there because I just really needed the distraction.
So
But
campaign
but
years, Brian kicks butt.
yes, after November 6th, it's like, wow, we posted a lot of videos. Uh, holy crap! Look at all those videos. Uh, yeah, I think that one thing that my father gave me, and I don't know if it's genetic or if it was something that I learned, but it's definitely dad. I got a really good BS detector.
Mm-hmm.
I can smell BS like a fart in an elevator. I know when it's in front of me. And what I've kind of come to do is look at the world, especially social media, when we're talking about the negative things that happen in the news and even the individuals who start to just become these negative vampire people who just oof. And I've said this before, I am Neo in the Matrix after he took that red pill. I get it. I can see past it all. I got your number. I got everybody's number. Now, when I'm paying attention and I'm sharp, this is how I feel. Okay, this is reality, and this is the real world, and I can tell the difference. When I'm not sharp, when I'm feeling down, I don't see that matrix quite as well, and I don't distinguish the BS from the real stuff as good as I should.
Yeah.
So it's important for me to stay strong and positive at all times. So when something comes up, like last fall, I can survive it. If I'm already worn down or tired or whatever, I fall for it. I admit it, I fall for it. But yeah,
And it's just
it totally sucks.
it was a very tough time. And for a lot
I
of
don't need I don't need constant praise either.
mm-hmm.
For any of the stuff that I do. But I got to admit, if I'm having a bad day, and we're going to pick on him again, and how he likes my video, and I see like he's the first like on my video, and then Robin likes my video, that really helps. It's that positive thing you can throw out there for people. You have no idea what kind of day they're having.
Yeah.
And if you can give them a little something, man, you can really make a difference. And these people make a difference for me. And I'm able to, in turn, do things to make a difference for others. So we talk about the negative stuff being contagious,
Mm-hmm.
the fear being contagious. So is the joy, and so is the positive stuff. That's also contagious. So I just always want to thank people who realize that and go ahead and spread it when they can, because that really does mean the world to people.
And I think one aspect, Brian, that is kind of uniform with what you and I do and what many Howie is doing and others here, is that our real motivation for what we do is that concept of helping people and wanting to be maybe not that uplifter in that sense, but yet the person who can give someone a hand, and maybe it's teaching them someone, maybe it's saying a kind word at the right time, maybe it's sharing a piece of knowledge, but having the motivation centered around helping people is really key, I think, to a lot of the things and the motivation behind what we do.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Anything that you do in life, and this is just me talking here. This is my opinion, please. But I think the less self-serving you are, the more rewarding anything is going to be to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're thinking about other people, if you only think of yourself and only think of how to serve yourself, I never see that going well for anyone.
No.
I see people who do okay with it. I see people who do a short-term gain from it, but I don't see anybody with longevity only serving themselves.
Mm-hmm.
If you are serving others, I really, it's, I'm not well, I'm a spiritual person. I'm not a religious person. I'm not a spiritual person, but karma comes to mind.
Oh, very much so. Mm-hmm.
And good karma, I don't associate with people who bring others down. I don't want anything to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like those people. I like the people who uplift and consistently uplift. Those are the people I want to surround myself with. And those are the people I have surrounded myself with. That's my family, My family's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Blanca's wonderful, the people who I call friends who do not require constant maintenance. They're the people who I've known for maybe a few years or maybe my whole life. I don't have to call them on the phone every day to maintain that relationship. I just know they're there for me. They know I'm there for them when they need me.
Yep.
Those are the people who bring me up. And there's a lot of understanding there too. There are people that I've known. There are people that I know who, when I first met them, maybe I didn't have a very good outlook on who they were.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't feeling it. And maybe something they said or they didn't come across well with me. But after I've gotten to know them and I've seen their positive qualities, I can ignore the bad stuff. It's like this, and this is funny. And I hope I don't upset anybody because I don't want to do that. But I have no filter. I'm just going to say
exactly. So, yep, it's coming.
And I've been public about this, and people know this about me. I have a problem with fat people. I don't. In general, I avoid them. I hate to watch them eat, and I don't want anything to do with fat people. But if I know someone who's heavy or big or whatever, and I know them, I have no problem with it. Because I look past that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even a thing, It's just weird how your brain works like that, I guess. It's a weird example. You may see somebody and they might have a big nose and you may see him for the first time and say, oh my God, look at that big nose of that guy. And then if you get to know the guy, you don't even see the nose anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's a beautiful nose that guy has because you just love him now and you've got positive things and you have positive other aspects about this person that just doesn't matter. That's a beautiful nose. That's his nose, and I love that guy, so it's a beautiful nose.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's all spiritual stuff, but and just God, I'm big on empathy. I say it a lot. Empathy, it's so important. You got to think of others. Without that, I don't even see a reason to be here. I'm not that important. I know that about my being here at all. I am not that important. What is important is the effect I have on others.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like it to be positive, even if you're fat. No, I'm sorry, but no, that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. I've always had an issue with that, but yeah, if I love you, I don't care. I don't care what you look like. I don't care how big or small you are.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Now, gang,
weird stuff.
This was a weird discussion that we had tonight. Now, I want you to think back to all the things we've covered. We have covered sales, and this was intentional that we went this direction. We have covered more sales principles tonight in what we just talked about than you can shake a stick at. The idea of serving others, the idea of being around other positive people in the sales arena, working with others that you can respect, and how you. If you look back and review what we were just talking about, there's a lot of gold for selling, whether face-to-face or over the phone, in what we just talked about tonight.
Way to justify this goofy show, John.
This was the intent of wanting to go this direction.
Oh, I knew where you were going with it. Why do you think I brought it up in videos?
I saw your video, but the idea is how interrelated that positive attitude and the idea. Yeah, Reverend Brian read.
Yeah, Brianism.
Yeah, but it all just goes together, and it really, the serving of others and the positive attitude and humbling yourself to be, I'm, as a DJ, really, I'm nothing at their wedding. It's them. They're the spotlight. How can I serve them and make them,
Yeah.
and if I go in there with a bad attitude, if I go in there and think that they owe me the world, it's going to be a horrible experience for everyone involved.
Yeah. Well, that's, a lot of that, John. Well, part of it is who you are. I knew people when I was young who had your attitude, but not many.
Mm-hmm.
That was a unique individual. I usually gravitated toward that individual. Unfortunately, I gravitated towards the negative individual as well.
Yeah.
So yin and yang, I guess. But I think a lot of that's maturity too.
Mm-hmm.
When you're young, you look at life different. When you get a little older, things happen to you. In look, not only do things happen to you, but you do things. And this is honesty. You do things. I've done things that I am not proud of in my life. And because of that, I carried, I guess, a degree of regret because of the things that I did that I wasn't proud of.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned from those things. And geez, you know what? That's what Mom was talking about, growing up.
Yeah.
Theory is fantastic. If you have this theory of how things should be, that's great. It's like talking about my daughter making mistakes. Same thing. I gotta let her make some of those mistakes. She's got to learn from them. I learned from mine, and I have learned from so many of my mistakes. I've learned from things that happened to me that weren't my fault. But yeah, it's maturity, John.
Yeah.
It's a healthy, mentally healthy person who's now mature and now isn't just thinking of himself, is thinking about his family, is thinking about his wife, is thinking about his neighbor, and even his peers who he hasn't even met. And that's why you do what you do, man.
Yeah.
It's not for dough. I know it's not for dough. It's because you care. You could do a lot of things for money.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of things you can do for cash. Investment banking, for instance. I mean, there are a lot of things you can do for money. There are union jobs out there that pay fantastic. Why do this? You got to do this because you love it, man. It's the only reason to do it. If you're in it for the quick buck, and I know some people are. See that's a kid up there walking. It shows. Let's just put it that way. If you're in it for the money, if you're in it for yourself, or you're in it for a quick buck, it shows. And you might fool some of the people some of the time, but you ain't gonna fool everybody all the time.
Yeah.
You definitely haven't fooled me.
For
I know
sure.
better. Smell like a fart in a car.
Like this, or a fart in the elevator. They liked that one before.
I'm gonna give him a look. Yeah, I'm looking at you. You think I'm looking at you? Yeah, I probably am.
It's giving you the dad eye there. And Thomas, I love that statement. He made the comment to never be the smartest person in the room, and the second half of that, I'm sure you guys have heard it, is if you are, go find a different room.
Yeah, really.
Because you don't want to be. And the idea is that not to be. You might be the smartest person in the room, but not to show and to, because you can always learn from everything. Anyway.
Shut up. Yeah, exactly.
Shut up and listen. Yeah, that's right.
I tell you. I'll share something. Do you have a minute?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's wrap, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay. And we're gonna shift a bit, maybe. But when I do my videos, I talked about empathy a lot, and I try to think of, here's a concept that I'll throw out there for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
The other day, I did this video on a mixing board, and I talked a little bit about hitting 0 dB, and I talked a little bit about crossfaders and all this stuff. And it was a relatively short video for that kind of concept. It raised so many questions. Like, people were asking the most elementary questions about what I was doing. Like I took them to college, but they hadn't gone through 8th grade yet. And what do I do at that point? Do I say, those people, they don't get it. They don't understand. Screw them. No, I don't do that, because I get it. There are things that I don't know. I don't know everything, and I'm here to learn, and so are they. And because they don't know some of these things about faders or EQs or output or what all this stuff means, I got to take a step back and I can teach them this stuff.
Yeah.
Don't hate on them. They don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay that they don't know. You didn't know one time either. Somebody taught you. And now just because you know doesn't make you better than them, because they know shit you don't know. Yeah. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. So take the time, have that empathy. You know, you can never, when you're doing the kind of stuff that we do, I don't think you can ever completely underestimate the power of back to the basics and starting from square one and helping somebody. That, to me, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That was a ramble. I'm sorry about that. I don't know if that was good to wrap the show, but
yeah, that was good.
It's just a little bit about my thought process when I do this stuff. I have to go back and do things a lot because I didn't start at 1. I thought I could start at 17, but that was wrong. I needed to start at 1. Somebody needed that. And you know what? Good. Now they know.
Yeah.
And I've made a difference, and that's cool.
Yeah, and I echo that statement when you're talking that there's the frustration with those people who are lambasting the beginning DJ.
Oh,
it's like,
Jesus.
We were all there. Maybe it was 15 years ago, maybe it was 20 years ago, maybe it was 10 years ago, but you were there and you were wondering, so what is an RCA?
What is, yeah.
I mean,
isn't that a TV?
And sometimes you just have to. But yeah, I had a discussion 2 weeks ago about someone who's like, man, some of your videos are just so entry level and basic, and it's like, yes, well, and at one time,
something else.
Yeah, one time you would have been right there, and yes, I tried to at times, if this is more of a this level, this is more what have you, but
I remember a long time ago, John, before we knew each other, when I was first doing videos, there was this troll. And I don't remember the troll's name. I've blocked the guy. I don't know whatever happened to him. And he was just brutal. Just brutal. I mean, back in the old days when nobody was on Facebook, I was like the only face anybody knew on the internet. Me and Jonathan Lewis, that was it.
Yep.
Everybody else was just
we're not there yet.
A screen name. There was no point of reference to who the hell these people were.
Mm-hmm.
There was this guy, and he was just brutal. And I remember something he said. He said, you guys, this can't last more than a couple months because eventually you'll have said everything there is to say about DJing. There's going to be a time when you're going to have said it all and you got to be done and shut up. And I can't wait for that day to happen. Well, guess what, troll? I can't wait either because I'm getting tired. I want to wrap this up. But you know what? They keep asking questions. They keep coming out with stuff. New stuff keeps happening. Concepts keep coming out. Ideas get shared. And it just doesn't end, man.
It just keeps going. Good stuff. That's where we will wrap it tonight. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching, for being with us tonight, for sharing your passion with us. I think it's probably the biggest thank you I want to give you guys.
Oh, yeah, go like the YouTube video, by the way. There's only 15 likes on there, and I know better because 20 people are watching. Go like the video.
Yeah, if you guys could do that, that would be appreciated. And again, as Brian said, when he's posting videos up there and you guys see those, it really does mean a lot to have you guys going and clicking like or to go in a comment section and make a comment, because that shows us that what we're doing is being received well, and you guys are appreciating what we do. So
ask questions.
Yeah, and ask questions.
Ask questions. I don't always get to the video comment sections on all my video because I have like 3,500 of them, and I have a life. But if I've done a recent video and you see that I'm kind of monitoring the questions section, ask it. And if I don't get to it right away, forgive me, ask it again, because I want your questions. I want to help.
For sure. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back tomorrow night with our 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock shows. We'll have a 9 o'clock mixing show, and at 10 o'clock, we'll have our Socially Mobile. These are Eastern time zones. We will catch you then. Brian, thanks much. We'll catch you guys next week. Good night, everyone.